Hi, I'm Shawn Hessinger, and this is Small Biz in 15, the show where we bring you small business success in 15 minutes or less. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the show. Can your business survive and even thrive during a recession? It can if you pay attention to the right metrics. Up next, Stoyan Kenderov, Chief Operating Officer of business payment platform Plastiq, has more. Hey, Stoyan, so what do you think the greatest risks are that small businesses face in a recession?
Yeah, that's the question on everybody's mind right now, Shawn. Certainly for your audience as well as for our customers. The number one reason why businesses go out of business is liquidity. And it happens more often than not during times of recession. So liquidity is something every small business in the current environment of pre-recession or maybe even recession has to go fix ASAP. Of course, there's many other worries that a small business owner that keeps the small business owner up at night. Like, for example, is my demand gonna stay away? Are my competitors now gonna lower prices and put me out of business? Where can I find more demand in times of recession? How do I engineer my business to be more recession-proof? Those are all worries that a business will have, but liquidity is the one thing every business has to focus on right away as the recession signals come in, and fix that as much as possible. And there's many ways to do that.
When we talk about liquidity, we're not talking about profits or how much money, how many sales you made, or what precisely are we talking about when we talk about liquidity?
Yeah, when we talk about liquidity, that is the money that a business needs to meet its obligations. And every business makes some money and also orders or pays workers, orders supplies, pays workers on the other side. And the money that a business needs to pay those obligations is what keeps the business liquid, right? If the income stops, is there enough cash to pay the vendors that have already made commitments, sent their product to you? And a lot of times the income side and the payment side, the bill payment side are disconnected in time. It's rare that a business buys materials and sells them same day. So usually some money comes in with some frequency and some money goes out with some frequency. And aligning these two is not only an accounting problem. It's an operational responsibility of a business owner. They need to have a visibility, a dashboard somewhere to see, are they still liquid? Are the commitments exceeding now the projected cash flow? Is this cash flow going to come together? What is the risk on my income side? Are some of my clients going to go out of business or reduce their demand and therefore I can't pay my vendors later? So that is the problem of liquidity that a lot of businesses, especially early on, cannot get right, don't know what tools to use, how to create more leeway for themselves.
How does a small business save money and save time during a recession?
Yeah, so recession is also a good time to put your house in order. And we've been now accelerating the going digital for all businesses, small and large. And large businesses have always tried to be at the cutting edge of efficiency, and they'll adopt any new tools that make sense. Small businesses, for sheer lack of time and sheer overwhelmedness of their owners, rarely find the time to look at how they could make their internal operations simpler, cheaper, faster. And with the pandemic and everybody starting to work from home, not going to the office, we saw this push to adopt more digital tools because they disconnect you from your office and your physical mailbox. But it hasn't happened to nearly the degree that it could. And a small business should look at where they organize their payments, where they organize their invoices, their accounting, and the subsequent processes. And there are now so many tools, great tools there for front office automation, your social media, your marketing automation, your the digital store where you sell your goods. But now there's also fantastic tools for the back office automation, such as Plastiq, where you can put all your vendors, all your commitments, as well as all your customers, all your receivables in one place and see how the cash flow connects through the business. And you don't need 3 people to be entering receipts, to be creating invoices and following up with clients, because the tool takes care of that and automates that and keeps you organized, gives you peace of mind, and quite frankly, it costs almost nothing to do that. So I don't know why businesses are not taking cost out of their operation, especially right now.
You hear about this, and I'm wondering if it's real, but people talk about it. They talk about the recession-proof business. Is there such a thing?
You know, there is. There is. Think about tax filing, compliance reviews, government mandated activities, healthcare, believe it or not, pet services, and the whole pet industry is actually pretty recession-proof. Nobody's going to kick their beloved dog or cat out of the house. Even if they lose their job, they'll try to take care of the beloved animal. So there are businesses that do very well in recession, as well as, you know, materials businesses, minerals, you know, energy usually does a lot better. And of course, a recession is at the time when every business should start asking the question, how do I diversify? How do I not end up in a position I'm in this recession 8 years or 10 years later when we're again at the end of a cycle? How do I have a business that has a recession-proof component? For example, a business that sells food to restaurants. Restaurants are the number one thing people cut down on in recession, you know, or when they face job cuts. And people will still go to a grocery store. And as a seller to restaurants of anything, you know, tomatoes, caviar, whatever it is, I would now start looking for retail channels that are recession-proof. Grocery stores are going to be doing just fine in a recession, actually better. They always end up doing better in a recession. If you're selling niche products, you know, through niche resellers, now is the time to go find your discount stores. Discount stores do great. Maybe you've avoided them because they want margin from you, and now is the time to actually not worry that much about margin. You know, you can make it up on volume if you're the first one to lock a deal.
I think that leads us into my next question. Well, I think you started to answer my next question. So my next question is, not only is there such a thing as a recession-proof business, but can you make your business more recession-proof? I think you started answering that question, but I wonder if we could expand on that and think of other ways that you might at least partially recession-proof your business. Obviously, you're in the business you're in, but, you know.
There is, and we happen to be in a position to help a lot of businesses in a recession. So when you think as a business owner, when you think of your vendor payment side, if you're small and you call on your vendors and you ask for net 30, net 45 day payment terms, they're probably going to turn you down. Even in a recession, if they have enough demand, they don't need to wait for the money 30 days. And maybe they're not going to send materials, precious materials to you in inventory without receiving a payment. But luckily, there are tools for you to use. If your vendor's not giving you the extension you need, you can come to somebody like Plastiq, where you can pay with a credit card. The payment on the credit card goes to the vendor right away, but you are now looking for 30 to 45 days of paying off that statement. So you just created for yourself room on that side, on the vendor payment side. Let's turn it around now. Your customers. Maybe you were okay with your customers paying you in 10, 15 days, 30 days. Maybe you are extending terms and just waiting for your clients to pay you because you don't have the muscle to force them to pay you. Now is not the time to tolerate that. Now it's the time to give them an option to pay you right away. And again, with Plastiq on that side, we allow you to extend card payment options to your clients that doesn't cost you anything. Why do you think so many businesses don't accept credit cards? because they don't want to lose 3 to 5% of their margin on these large amounts. Tesla is not selling cars on credit cards. Google is not selling advertising on credit cards for anything above $5,000. But with a tool like Plastiq, a business can actually use a credit card, pay that vendor, and gain, basically use a credit card, accept a credit card from that customer, so that the business gets paid right away, and the client now gets the 30 or 45 days of extension that they needed.
Are there big mistakes that small business owners need to avoid? Because I can see as a recession approaches or any kind of thing like that, or you read about it in the media, there's a certain amount of maybe panic that sets in. Are there mistakes that you have to be careful to avoid?
Yeah, there are. One of the most common mistakes businesses make is when the recession starts, they just hit the phones harder. They just want to call more customers, more prospects, offer discounts, and they think they're going to create safety that way for their business. And unfortunately, what happens is there will be some slowdown of demand, more for some, less for others. But as that demand slows down and the business starts running out of liquidity, that's where the trouble starts. That's why you actually cease to exist rather than continue operating. So instead of hitting the phone harder first, a business needs to think about how do they get some reprieve from their vendors, whoever their suppliers are. Can they get longer terms? Can they make sure they pay later? And then on the other side, can the business collect faster? Can they get to cash faster? Is there a way that a customer might pay in installments, maybe half now, half later? Or if a customer always pays 30 days late, is there a way to allow them to pay via credit card? Of course, there is associated risks with that. So one thing that a business needs to do is find a tool that takes over that card payment risk, but find a way to get paid faster and find a way to pay your vendors later is the name of the game, first name of the game. And that creates more liquidity. And then manage that liquidity on daily, weekly, monthly basis. You need to know what your obligations are going to be over the next couple of months so that you don't find yourself in a position where you have more obligations than you will see cash for. And that is unfortunately a huge risk that businesses are oblivious to. You will be surprised how many businesses actually don't know the exact amount of cash they will need this month or this quarter or this year. So those are mistakes that businesses make. Fixing the liquidity side of the business first and then hitting the phone hard. Nothing wrong with that.
Now it's time for our small biz tip in 15 seconds or less. Always focus on liquidity. Having cash on hand to meet your obligations can be your superpower when helping your small business survive a recession. Thanks again to Stoyan Kenderov, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the show. And please leave a comment and let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future programs. For more small business news and tips, join us at smallbiztrends.com.